Good evening, Fernwood. It is your absolute beginner, Neil, and it's time for us to artfully start another week of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. Today we are watching episode 226 from February 14th, 1977. It is Valentine's Day of that year. Last week we had a lot of transition, so why don't we get ourselves up to date? Mary Hartman started the week crying in bed, and though Tom did everything that he could to comfort her, Mary really couldn't verbalize why she was feeling so sad. The next day she had a job interview, and though the interviewer was dismissive, she ultimately qualified for the position at the factory. She's doing what she can to fit in, but the men at the factory aren't accepting her, and the job is putting stress on the Hartman marriage. Also, Heather and Philip have been spending a lot of time together. Next door at the Shumways, Grandpa Larkin has a new girlfriend named Barbie. Martha and Kathy set up a tourist attraction at their home, but after a few days, George completely wrecked it. Also, the new radio DJ Howard asked Kathy on a date. When it comes to the Haggers, now that Loretta is home, she is wanting to focus on being a housewife and putting superstardom on the back burner for a little while. Charlie is troubled that she can't remember her life as Lulu, and Matt clears the air with him and confirms that he and Lulu never slept together, and it seems like Mac and Charlie are becoming closer friends. Pat Gimble would like nothing more than to stay in jail and clear her name since she has been accused of murdering her husband Garth. Her roommate Cookie has completely different ideas, and now they are fugitives living in the woods. Over at the Jeters, Merle wants Wanda's sexual attention, though Wanda introduced him to the new cleaning lady Lila, and Wanda is completely comfortable if Merle and Lila hook up. Wanda, on her part, is content to stay busy with political events. And then last Friday, Kathy tried making dinner, and it looked kind of like a bomb went off in Mary's kitchen. When Mary found out that Heather was out on a date, she got very judgmental, and Kathy started ranting about how she deserves to be seen differently. Mary got a call from Patty out in the woods, and she rushed out with a basket full of food. We jumped over to Heather and Philip sneaking around the old Gimble house. They talk about sex from their very inexperienced point of view and then get spooked when a police car drives by, but then they resolve to spend the night sleeping together, non-sexually. Over at the Jeters, Merle and Lila are snuggling, though Lila sets a boundary of no kissing. Wanda comes home and Merle seems sad that she's not giving him the sexual attention that he craves, and Lila comforts him. Then we cut over to Kathy and Howard on their date, and Howard is very handsy. Kathy sets her own boundary and says that she wants to be courted. Howard agrees to this, though neither of them are very clear about what people do when they're courting. And then we cut out to the woods where Mary is delivering the basket for Patty and Cookie. Mary gets Patty up to date on the things that are going on, and Patty is proud that her boy Philip is no longer wetting the bed. Cookie shows up and starts throwing her weight around and threatens to implicate Mary if Mary gets the police involved. They are surprised to hear a horse and are met by some wandering Romani, and Mary hopes that they will not get kidnapped. And everyone, like I said, that was a big week of transition. I have no idea what to expect today, so why don't we find out on this episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
Well?
Well, what?
What do you think? For our first night sleeping together.
It was great. I didn't know it could be so easy.
Yeah, I feel like a new one. You know what?
What?
I sure am glad we didn't go all the way.
We didn't go any of the way. But if we got a lifetime, why rush it?
How long has the alleged Heather Hartman been missing?
That was since this morning, and she's not the alleged Heather Hartman. I mean, she was positively identified at birth as daughter of Tom and Mary. You want some more coffee?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Was there a quarrel?
Do you call it like scolding a child for dressing up like a tramp a quarrel? You have enough sugar in there?
Oh, it's fine, thanks.
Is that
Yeah,
good?
that's good.
Okay.
Yes. Now, has she got a history of truancy?
Only in case of strep throat and typhoid fever. Couldn't you put an all-points bulletin on her, or like, a trail of bloodhounds or something like that?
You see, it's only procedure here.
Excuse me, but how come you're in overalls?
Oh, because I have to go to work at the plant, that's all.
Oh, working mother, huh?
Yeah.
One of those.
Now, where is the aforementioned father?
He's out looking for the missing child. How are those eggs? What did they do, dry?
Little salt.
Salt?
Little salt.
Okay.
Oh, Mary, I've been all over. I can't find her little baby. He's gone. Call him, please. Just call him.
Tom, this is the police.
Yes, we know how you feel, Mr. Hartman. You know, it's hard enough to raise a teenager, especially when her mother is never home.
And don't you realize that neglectful parents, they drive their children towards crime, to terrorism, to drug abuse, subversion?
Huh. No wonder Heather never has time for her homework.
Well, we'll do us a favor. Just find her, will you, please? Just find her.
We'll do what we can.
Okay, good.
Thanks
good.
very much. Thanks really very much.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
stand next to the phone in case there's a ransom demand.
A ransom? A ransom? What does a thing like that come to? What is that? Like small bills, small change, large bills? What is that?
I don't know, but thanks for the coffee.
Oh, you're welcome. Just keep the cup. That's fine. Oh, Tom. Oh, this is terrible. I mean, this is really a terrible thing here.
Mary,
It's terrible.
Please, don't
No.
worry. Don't worry. They'll find her. They
No,
will.
Tom,
She'll
this
show
is
up.
terrible. I mean, this is terrible. If she'd run away, I mean, she would have taken her hair dryer. She would have taken all her beauty stuff. You know, Heather, she's so vain. She has to have all that stuff with her all the time. But if she was kidnapped, I mean, if the child was Heather!
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 Here, honey. There you go.
Heather, sweetheart, where were you? What did you do? What, did you just spend a little night at a friend's house?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Oh, not at Trudy's, though. Not at Trudy's, because you don't like... You once told me you didn't like Trudy so much anymore since she became a juvenile delinquent. Is that right?
No, it wasn't Trudy.
Well, who was it, sweetheart? Who?
I spent the night with little Garth.
Hi, where is he?
Little Garth.
Where is he, huh? Where is he?
Where did you go? To a motel or a ditch?
To the Gimbals. We snuck in at the Gimbals.
Hi, Heather! You go to your room. Now, get out of here. Go to your room. Go to your room. No. I don't want to hear another word out of you. And I want you wearing your glasses. All right, Mary. Now, you listen to me. This is all your fault. This is your fault. I want you to stay home now and be a mother. Do you hear me? I want you to stay home. Now, take off those overalls.
All right, Tom, now look, before you get rash, I am too old for you to send me to my room, okay? I'm too old for that, okay? So just leave me alone about all that. I mean, I've had a very hard night here, too.
Wait a minute. Where are you going?
I'm going to work.
All right. All right, you go to work. Go ahead. I'll do what I have to do alone.
What's that?
Kill little Garth.
Okay. See you later, sweetheart.
You like it?
You look pretty as the flower and ready for picking.
Oh, well, sugar darling, honey, you know that I just want to be extra special, precious darling for you now, honey, every single day, and especially since I'm going to be Fernwood's superstar housewife.
Baby doll, don't you think that maybe you are carrying this housewife thing a mite too far? I mean, sweetheart, you know that I love you. I wouldn't swap a hair in your head.
Oh, honey, I love you too, and I just want to be an extra special good person for you and a good wife, and I'm taking Geritol now and everything, and I just want to kind of make up, for the time I was Lulu and in the Twilight Zone and all. It just, even though I don't remember nothing about it.
Well, rest your mind, sweetheart. Just put your mind to rest, because ever since I had a little chat with Max Slattery, all of my fears have been washed clean away.
Wait a minute, Charlie, you didn't tell me you talked to Mac. I mean,
Yeah, he's a terrific guy, honey, and I want you to know neither one of you did anything that either one of you has to be ashamed of.
We didn't?
No.
Well, Charlie, I told you we didn't. I mean, I knew the Lord would, let us. Charlie, I don't know if I want you being so chummy with Mac and everything.
Well, baby, he's a nice guy, and Fernwood is a small town, and I just figure our paths are bound to cross sooner or later.
We didn't, huh? Well, I mean, Fernwood isn't all that small, I mean, it really is small, actually. And I don't know why your paths have to cross. Let's don't even talk about Mac, honey. Let's just have us a romantic evening, just the two of us, okay?
Darling, I'm afraid our paths are going to cross sooner than you expect. I asked Mac to come over tonight.
You asked Mac to come over tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Charlie, why did you ask? Why did you do that? Oh, come on, you're
honey,
pulling my
listen,
leg,
honey,
right?
I just felt that it would be, well, honey, maybe if you got to know Mac, Loretta, again, that maybe you could relax your mind about the whole thing.
Oh, Charlie, I don't. Honey, I mean, it's not that I don't like Mac. I'm sure he's a very lovely person. I don't mean being a Christian or nothing, but it's just awkward. I mean, I
Sweetheart, I figured that the only thing to do with a situation like this is to stare that thing right smack dab in the face, grab the bull by the horns, and flush it clean out of our minds.
Well, you start flushing, Charlie, and I'm going to go spray the plants upstairs, and I'll tell you what, I'll be thinking about what you're saying here.
Come in. Hey, Mac, how are you?
Just fit as a pig smoke.
Come on in.
Hey, it's a real nice place you got here, Charlie. Kind of looks like swamp. Here,
Yeah.
Hey,
Loretta should be right here. She's just upstairs watering the plants. Loretta!
boy, you're a lucky man, Charlie. I mean, you got this beautiful home and a beautiful wife.
Loretta. Honey? Honey, you remember Mac?
Oh, how are you?
Honey, look what Mac brought us.
It's a plant.
Isn't that so nice of you? I'll tell you what, I'll just go upstairs and water.
Mac, why don't you sit down? Go ahead, sit right down there. Honey, think maybe you'd be more comfortable on my other knee? Just sit right up on my knee there.
So.
Well, so, how are you, Mac?
Fine, just fine. How are y'all doing?
Fine.
Fine.
And you?
Just fine.
Good.
Why are you gift wrapping a cabbage?
I'm not. I'm trying to diaper it.
Oh, Kathy. Jeez. You know, if that had been a baby, it would have been coleslaw. You know, babies are very quick, you know. They're very quick. I mean, you have to watch them constantly. A mother learns to sense danger around a child, you know that?
What are you getting at?
I'm getting at disaster, Kathy. Disaster. There's certain terrible things that a mother really knows. A mother knows a fall, a mother knows a fever, a mother knows a flunking out, and a mother knows a wayward way of an aunt who's trying to make a sleazy person out of her own little daughter.
What are you hinting at?
I'm hinting at all that stuff that you're making Heather put on her face, all that shellacking up, and all that teased-out hairdo to make her look like a roller derby queen.
You know, not everybody wants to go through life wearing braids, you know. And besides that, a little hairspray does not poison you.
Well, Ralph Nader would disagree with you there, but I think you've gone a little farther than that with Heather.
What has Heather done?
What Heather has done is even too sordid for me to say.
Mary, what?
Okay, I'll tell you exactly. And I'm going to tell you this in the most disgusting terms that I can think of. This is the most awful, vulgar, disgusting language I could possibly come up with in my life. Heather's gone all the way.
You've got to be kidding.
Why would I kid about a thing like that? That is so depressing, Kathy. And it's all your fault.
Oh, how can you blame me if Heather fooled around? Whose sister and whose sister's husband slandered that sister's sister who in front of that niece? Who is blaming who for corruption, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't know what you're talking about. I mean, when did Tom and I ever slander you?
Oh, you just said that I was sexually loose and that I was a contender for the town tramp, that's all.
Well, I never said that.
Well, you must have said something because Heather told me so.
Well, I never used those words.
Well, what words did you use, Mary?
Constructive words I used. Very constructive words. I'm not a gossip, you know. I'm not a gossip. I may listen, but I don't gossip.
Just because you're jealous of my appeal is no reason to slander behind my back.
Jealous? Where does jealousy come into this?
Oh, you mean you weren't jealous when Dennis almost left you to marry me?
Oh, that's low, Kathy. Oh, that's really low. That is getting really low. Talk about jealous. You're the one who's jealous. That's who's jealous. You're jealous because I happen to have a happy family. So what if my daughter's a nymphomaniac? And you're jealous because of the closeness that I have with my husband and that my husband happens to be, coincidentally, the father of our child.
Yeah? Well, at least I can choose who I want to marry. I don't have to marry the only man who ever came into town into my life.
Hey, what's all the noise about? What's going on here?
We're finally getting to the truth here. And the truth here is that she is stubborn, and she is selfish, and that she is spoiled, and that she has taken everything that you have given her, all the love that you've given her all your life, and she's exploiting it.
I don't like that language, Mary.
Well, she's doing it to Heather, too. She's spoiling Heather.
I am not spoiled. You know what I am, Mary? I'm lucky because Mom and Dad made all their mistakes on you.
Oh, Kathy, that is not fair. We made just as many mistakes with you. All right. We let Mary flunk out of algebra. But then didn't we let you drop out of home economics? No, it's even Steven.
Martha, stay out of this.
Oh, why do you always have to take her side? You like her better than you like me, don't you?
Do not.
Do too.
Do not.
Do too.
Do not.
Do too.
Do not.
At least I try to be nice.
Ha! Trying is one thing, doing is another. You know, Mary, talk is cheap.
And so is Heather. Thanks to you.
Well, you know what? At least I'm not a hypocrite. I never did it with somebody in a hospital bed who just happened to be a heart attack patient.
Kathy's right. Now, listen. I want you to apologize to her. I swear to God, I'll wash your mouth out with soap.
Thank you, Daddy.
Mom! George, you let them fight their own battles.
Martha, you stay out of this.
And you butt out.
Listen, I never want to talk to you again as long as we both shall live, Mary.
Well, that goes double.
Triple.
Shut up.
I'm leaving this house, and I'm never setting foot in this house again. And I don't care, come rain, come sleet, come snow or hail. That is it. Oh, Ma, listen, I may have to bring my laundry over sometime if my machine breaks down or anything like that, okay? So for now, goodbye forever.
Kathy, you shouldn't sulk like that. It adds wrinkles to your face.
Why do you always side with Mary?
I don't always side with Mary.
Well, I do things for you that she would never even think of doing, like having a baby and selling it so that you have a retirement pension for your old age.
Oh, Kathy, it's just that a mother has to be impartial, you know, like a referee. Now, as far as I'm concerned, neither of you are very special.
Thanks a lot.
Well, you know what I mean. It's just that I've known Mary longer.
Yeah, but Mommy, I tried so hard to make you happy.
Oh, Kathy, you know what would make me happy? If you would give that little baby of yours a name. If I have to be a grandmother, I'd like to know what I'm going to call my grandson.
Oh, yeah, I forgot all about that. Listen, I bought a book. that has all the names and what they mean in it. Come on, let's pick out a name.
Kathy, how about Raymond after Grandpa?
A, B, C, D, F, G. Raymond. Wise protector. No, you know, I think I would like something a little bit more masculine, like Elton, Nemo.
Well, personally, I prefer something a little more romantic, you know, like Heathcliff or Rhett or maybe just plain old-fashioned Humphrey, as in Bogart.
Now what's happening?
Oh, we're naming the baby.
Oh, without me? Aren't I your favorite father? Huh? Don't I read around here anymore?
Oh, sure you do. What names do you like? See, I was thinking of maybe Clive Shumway.
How about an Indian name like Chief Running Water?
Yeah, well, you know what? You know, I think it's really important, you know, naming a baby, and it should take some time. So why don't we just call it Baby for now?
Baby?
Oh, yes, Baby. That has a nice ring to it.
Darling, you know, I wasn't in that car more than 2 minutes, and I started thinking about you. Started wishing you were right there with me, riding alongside with me. You know something? You know what we ought to do? We ought to start taking some trips together. You know, I think it'd be real good for both of us. Darling. Hey, listen to me. Let me take this opportunity to tell you how much I love you, darling. I know that you're Lila and everything. She's a well-rounded person and all that, but she ain't enough. I think I really kind of come to realize now that my real relationship lies here within the confines of my little marriage. You know what I mean? Even the way you close your eyes and turn the other cheek and shoulder, whatever, you know, to what's been going on with Lila and me. When I look at you doing that, I don't know, I just see a certain kind of dignity in you, a certain cool that I personally, you know, respect. I respect that kind of thing. I want you to know that. You have to realize, too, that, you know, Lila's just a part-time maid when you get right down to it. That ain't what I need. I need a full-time kind of love, you know? I need the love of a wife. You know what I mean? Let me tell you something else, darling. As long as you have a man that loves and desires you as much as I do, there's no reason for you to ever have to sleep alone or worry about that. You know? Darling? Are you listening? You hear what I say, darling? Wanda? Have you heard a word that I've said to you, darling?
Yes, Merle. I did.
Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Wanda. Wait a minute. Why can you do this to me? What is this? Okay, buddy, you want to step out of the bed for a minute? Just step out of the bed for a minute, my friend! Come on, you sneaking coward. Come on, let's just talk about this little deal right now.
I was not expecting the amount of emotions I felt just now. So we come up on the Gimble household with Heather and Philip, and yeah, they slept together, but fairly chastely. And neither of them seems ready to move forward, and that's good for them that they know that. There's so much pressure on young people to sleep together, whether or not, well, that's a longer conversation. And we cut to Mary talking to the police, the same policeman that Patty had her experiences with and who arrested her and brought her to jail. And they're as judgmental about Mary having a job as they are to Patty and the way that she dealt with Garth before he was murdered. You know, she asked them for help and they said, just keep things calm. So clearly the police in this situation, these two policemen specifically, represent the patriarchy because they just want women to stay in the home. Heather shows up and reveals that she slept with Garth, literally slept with Garth, not the sex thing that we usually use that as a euphemism for. And that sets them both off, Tom and Mary, I mean. And Tom puts his foot down and says, you're not going to work, and says that he's going to kill little Garth. I don't think he means that literally. I don't expect that to be a literal murder, but he's certainly angry, and I wish that they had spoken to Heather. I wish maybe Heather could communicate better about what was going on with her, but Tom and Mary certainly jumped to a conclusion that isn't true. And then we get the Haggers, and Loretta is in housewife mode, and that's not anything that Charlie cares about. However, Loretta does need to rest her mind, right? Like, she's been through a lot, and that maybe is why it's uncomfortable that Charlie just presumed that bringing Mac over for dinner would be good. Like, maybe after some head trauma and a couple weeks worth of stuff that you can't remember, that maybe Charlie should have eased her into this rather than like ripping the Band-Aid off. And Loretta goes to the back room and makes herself a lot less done up. She comes out much more casually than I think we've ever seen Loretta. Sweater and I guess jeans, I don't remember what she was wearing, but things then get awkward. I guess we'll see what that means, but it certainly was uncomfortable to watch. And then even more uncomfortable to watch was the exchange between Kathy and Mary, which shows their two essential points of view that we've seen them living with for like over a year at this point. Their two essential viewpoints about how to interact with the world are coming into clash. It causes a big fight with all of the Shumways. Although it's really Mary who says she's never coming over, except to drop off some laundry, perhaps. And I feel like this sibling conflict between the two of them is something that it's ugly. Like, between siblings, to see those different points of view, you know, each sibling is an individual person, and they see the world and interact with the world in different ways. It's surprising that, you know, you grow up with someone, and you don't have the tools for how to talk to them. And I think for a lot of siblings, we just assume that they get each other. And sometimes that's the case, I suppose. I guess there's always going to be conflict when you're close to someone. And people see the world differently. Now, what I believe is that Kathy didn't do anything wrong in talking to Heather, and Heather didn't actually sleep with Philip, but Mary is misinformed, and that is causing a lot of anger. So that sparks anger in Kathy, who brings up Dennis and brings up the whole entirety of Mary's life. And Mary just doesn't understand how Kathy does things. And again, they have their own rules and their own way of dealing with the world. To a certain extent, this is something that they're just going to have to reconcile. It's not a sitcom style problem. It's that they have a normal human relationship that is coming under stress. And this is them figuring out how to deal with it. And, I don't know that the Shumways, Martha and George, really can help here, because they have shown that in a crisis they lose it too. And then we have that scene with naming the baby, and the baby is just going to be called Baby for a while. And at this point, I don't know if the baby is going to be a character on this show at all, but it will be a figure in the background. And then we come to Merle, who has a long monologue with a body underneath the blanket. We have a lot of hidden identities here. He is pouring his heart out to who he thinks is Wanda. I was pretty sure it wasn't Wanda underneath the blanket. Hopefully that it wasn't something bad like a corpse or something, because there was no response. Merle gets into bed and the blanket's still down, so clearly some surprise is happening, and Wanda walks in, and it seems like Merle presumes that it's a man in the bed and that he's jealous, and he sees that it's Lila, who he's been canoodling with for a couple weeks at least. And I wonder what Merle sees, because Merle could be feeling a bit betrayed because Wanda isn't giving him what he wants. And we can talk about the entirety of Merle and Wanda's relationship, I suppose, but it's clear what he wants is something closer to the woman that he married. At the same time, he initially, if jealousy is the correct read, that he felt jealousy when he thought there was a man in the bed. Well, that's what he does with Wanda, or that's what he has done with Wanda, is to be with other people. Mind you, Wanda has given consent and is completely comfortable with Merle being with other people. But there's definitely some kind of question that is going through Merle's head as he discovers Lila is the one that he was speaking to. And I'm curious what you all think. So thank you so much for watching with me. Thank you so much for putting up with all of the stupid pop-ups that I've got to clean up. Hopefully the edit will be clean. Thank you so much for leaving your thoughts and feelings in the comments. Thank you so much for artfully starting another week of Mary Hartman. Thank you again, and we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.